Nothing good is safe while Snow's alive. And I can't make another speech about it. Snow has to pay for what he's done.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Nick's Flicks Fix. It's Nick here, and today I'm bringing you a review for the final film in the Hunger Games saga, Mockingjay Part 2. Mockingjay Part 2 is the continuation from Mockingjay Part 1, where Katniss and Peter and the crew of guys they have with them are ready now. They've liberated the districts and they're ready to go attack the capital and ultimately take out President Snow, freeing Panem.
Tonight, turn your weapons to the capital.
I was not a fan of Mockingjay Part 1 simply because, and a lot of people do debate this with me and argue with me on this, but that film had no resolution to it. I understand that Part 2 is supposed to be the resolution for that. If a film is just character build-up and tension build-up with no payoff, you're left wanting a lot more, and Mockingjay Part 1 really frustrated me like that. I was not a fan of Part 1. It was very repetitive, the pacing was all over the place, and not a lot really happened until the last half an hour of that film. I was very keen to go see Part 2 because I wanted this resolution. I wanted to find out what happened with the characters, everything that had built up from Part 1. I wanted a payoff for at least, and I kind of got that with Part 2. I feel like Mockingjay would have benefited from one very good 2.5 hour to 3 hour film instead of two 2.5 hour movies. I understand that they want to stay true to the books, and from what I've heard, that Part 1 and Part 2 are very true to the books. I understand that, and they want the fan service, but there's an argument that I've heard that I very much agree with, that they've already made the best version of the book, and that's come out, and now they need to make the best version of the movie, and Mockingjay's Part 1 and 2 do not work as separate movies. They work as one cohesive story if they were together in one film. My biggest problems with Part 2 were the pacing issues again, much like Part 1. There's a lot more action in Part 2 which kept me entertained, but it's very sporadic and the tone is very much off. It gets very intense for about 10 minutes and then the pacing slows down a lot and they do more character building, even though we had a whole film in Part 1 of character building, but they seem to want to do it again, and then it gets really intense again and then it slows down, and it's a roller coaster and it's not enjoyable. If it had just been consistent with the high intensity and the high action, I feel like it would have been better. The acting is great. I thought it was very good. Jennifer Lawrence is great as well. My favourite characters, however, are Donald Sutherland as President Snow. I absolutely love President Snow's character. Even though he's a dick and he's evil, Donald Sutherland plays him very well. Woody Harrelson as Haymitch, I love. He wasn't in the film as much. I wanted a lot more of him. I understand, obviously, because this part is following more Katniss and Peter and that crew. And also Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, rest in peace as well. He's a phenomenal actor and very sad to see him go. But again, he brings such realness and grittiness to his character. And like I said, I think the action in the film was actually quite entertaining. It's a huge spectacle piece. I absolutely love the scale they go with some of the action scenes in this film. I do believe that fans of the books who know the story will enjoy it a lot. I found it quite predictable. A lot of the twists that happened, I didn't feel the impact of what happens to certain characters. It happens and then it's done, and they don't really sit on it for the rest of the film, and that kind of frustrated me. Especially one character in particular who does die. I won't say who. Their death was glossed over. Very, very much so, and they've been a prominent part of the most of the films. So I feel like the tone and consistency was really off with this film. I sound like a broken record. It should have been one movie instead of two parts, more cohesive and on the point. Mockingjay Part 1 was a great first 2 acts of a film, I think, and if they condensed it down, and then Part 2 would have been the perfect third act to finish with the high entertaining action scenes and ultimately the satisfaction of finishing the story and having all that build-up resolved and things like that. I'm going to say, as a film, Mockingjay Part 2, you can't wait for it to come out in DVD, but I know everyone's gone to see it in the cinemas already because sessions are selling out everywhere, and it's got that huge fan culture behind it. It's definitely not a terrible movie, it's just it could have been done a lot better.
Dear Miss Everdeen, make no mistake, the game doesn't live up.
Guys, thank you so much for watching my reviews. More reviews coming this week. I'm very excited for some of the films coming out this week. We got Hotel Transylvania 2, which I'm a huge fan of the first film, and we got Creed, the Rocky spin-off, which I'm hearing absolutely amazing things about. In the meantime, go see a movie sometime.
gentlemen, welcome to the 76th Hunger Games.